The 21st century was in full swing by November of 2000, and that was no more apparent than on the World Wide Web. Previously a novelty, society was coming around to the idea that the internet was on track to become an inescapable part of our daily life. People from all walks of life who may have never interacted were now able to talk and work with each other in ways never thought possible. It might have even been possible to talk to someone from the future. On November 2nd, 2000, a user known as Time Travel Zero, or John Titor, began posting on the Coast to Coast and Time Travel forums. He exploded onto the scene, claiming to be a military time traveler from the year 2036. He would go on to explain that he was in the year 2000 on a personal stopover before heading to 1975. He was going to 1975 to collect an IBM 5100 computer to fix legacy system errors caused by a virus in 2036. He was very forthcoming with the ins and outs of time travel, explaining in detail the components that went into building a time machine. In true time traveler fashion, this time machine was housed in either a 1966 Corvette or a 1987 Chevy Suburban. Outside of posts about who he was and how his time machine worked, Titor was happy to tell people about the future that awaited them. He was always quick to add a disclaimer that alternate timelines existed, and that his foretelling of events may never happen in our timeline. Titor's time on the internet only lasted about 4 months, but in that time he built a faithful following, hanging on to his every word. What follows is a brief list of events John Titor foretold. A civil war over order and rights would kick off in 2005 before becoming a full-blown crisis by 2008. This civil war would split the US into 5 different regions with different goals. The civil war would end with a short nuclear World War III. At the conclusion of the bombs dropping, Omaha, Nebraska would become the new capital of the US. Now in 2022, these events obviously never happened. This has not detracted fans of Titor, who claim that by telling people that these events would happen, because of the many worlds theory, a new timeline was formed by Titor. It's a very complicated way to explain away why these events never happened. The enduring legacy of Titor is probably due to the perfect time which he was active. Nowadays, it's hard to remain completely anonymous on the internet. Today, John Titor would have been dragged on Twitter within 5 minutes of claiming to be a time traveler. In 2000, it was a completely different story. Titor still stays in the cultural consciousness because no one ever took credit for him. There was no grand reveal of the puppet master pulling the strings on the John Titor project. Attempts to find him have been strangely fruitless. The closest thing to a break in the case came in 2008, when a private investigator hired by an Italian TV show found the John Titor Foundation, a for-profit organization started in 2003. A search of their company contacts returned a post office box in Kissimmee, Florida. An IP address connected to Titor also returned a result in Kissimmee. In February 2009, a report by a self-proclaimed hoax hunter allegedly blew the lid off of the John Titor case. It was found that in the original thread where Titor answered questions, over 80 of the people replying were allegedly found to be likely creations of the person or people running the John Titor account. The reasoning behind this is that those accounts outside of John Titor's thread never posted about him again. They seem to exist solely in the John Titor bubble, never venturing out into the internet at large. Hundreds of thousands of words have been written about Titor, and while I can confidently say that some of the cases I look at will never be solved, I'm not so sure about Titor. This all happened just 22 years ago. There is still time for whoever created Titor, or Titor himself, to show up and throw back the curtain. But what do you think? Was John Titor real, or just the bored creation of a forums user in Florida? Let me know in the comments or on Twitter at @DreadUnsolved. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you enjoy this content, consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.